keep monitoring this as it progresses, I guess, until we see it ourselves. All right, moving on to the last topic. We're going to discuss. We can say it twice. We can't say it 3 times. But we saw Beetlejuice, and we had a great time. We wanted to give our thoughts on it. We got an early screening of it this week. We're gonna do a quick review of it, non-spoiler. So if you haven't seen it yet, we're not gonna spoil it. We will spoil Beetlejuice 2 tomorrow. Well, when we do the show with After Dark with Tyler Cossey. So today is the non-spoiler review of Beetlejuice. Let's talk about our overall impressions of it, babe. Let's start with you, babe. What did you think overall? What did you think about Beetlejuice?
I loved it. I had a good time. It was a blast. Funny. I mean, it's not. I mean, I know it's Halloween and it's the undead and whatever, but it's not really a horror type. It's not really a horror movie per se. Horror comedy, maybe. I don't know what you would call it, but I enjoyed it. I had a good time.
Overall fun time.
Oh yeah.
What about you, Robert? When we saw Beetlejuice, were you excited from day go?
I was excited, and it delivered. So overall impression was great. Great film. Go see it.
I concur. That's like everybody said. I had a great time, and whether or not where it compares to the original, I'll save that for the end of the conversation. But I thought it was a
Michael
great
Keaton
installment.
Fell right back in, seamless.
I think we said that yesterday. I think we were like, it felt like this could have been written and done. It felt like it could have been like the very next year. Obviously, it's been 30 years. And with the characters have all grown up and had, and Lydia had children of her own with Jenna Ortega's character, but it felt like it could have been a couple of years down the line, like this would have been filmed in the 90s. So let's talk about Tim Burton. Your overall impressions of the direction of this movie. How did you feel about?
Direction-wise, I thought he nailed it. It had the same feel to me as the original, but fresh enough to where it didn't seem like you were just watching the same film over.
Right.
The performances that he kind of teased out of the actors met seamless. There was no loss in the immersion.
Here we go. The going back to the practical effects. I mean, the updated technology. You can see it here and there, but it still felt like, because in the original movie he purposely wanted to use that animation and make this feel like I forgot what genre it was, or the old school type, like puppet animation type of technology that even back in the 80s we were kind of past that, but we purposely made that look from that time, that old 1950s or 60s clay animation. He purposely wanted to do it, and he did it again. Like I said, it felt like it did not feel like this was an updated, overly CGI'd kind of thing. It still felt like the exact same town, the exact same the people, just a little bit older, and the exact same what was called the practical effects is what I was trying to say. Yeah, he did a great job.
You see it in the trailers, the room full of Bobs. Those are
yeah.
I mean, they do have different names on their name tag, but they're all.
Let's go into that. Let's go our performances. What was the performances for you, and how did you feel about who was the standout character? Was it?
I mean, Michael Keaton was. I mean, he was fabulous. He did a great job. He was hilarious. As much as obviously, I would think that I would have said that it was going to be Michael Keaton, but just like you just mentioned, without giving away any spoilers, for some weird reason, Bob was my favorite performance. I always love when you have unspoken characters that don't speak, but are still entertaining. They're funny.
Yeah.
You get emotion from them. Those
Yeah.
are always. I enjoy that.
The way this, obviously because it's the puppet, the way it was emoting.
But you get lots of.
Yeah, I thought they did a brilliant job in executing that, and that lends itself to the direction again. But what about you? Who was the performance that stood out to you, Zork?
I'm going to agree with you, Bob. I thought Bob killed it.
Bob killed it.
Bob killed it.
All the Bobs.
The puppeteer and the work they did to get that the expression and the emotes out of that shrunken head character.
Yeah,
was super awesome, and he never said a word.
Just like in part one when that end credit scene when Beetlejuice was waiting for his time in the waiting room and Bob he was just chatting him up like, hey buddy, and then Bob just ignored him like Bob has always been a character. So I was so glad that we got more from the B.O.B. Because he was my standout my favorite character. Cinematography, like, what did you think about the camera work or the overall aesthetics of the film? What did you think about that, Rob?
I thought the camera work and stuff was really well. Some of it there was a little bit of groundbreaking cinematography used in the first film, where some of the camera angles and they were using some of the stop motion stuff and some of the way they were going through miniatures with the camera.
They did that. Yeah, they did that again.
Man. They used some of that same feel in this. But it was with the new technology and updated, but it retained some of that feel. So super excited about the way the cinematography came out.
I thought that like I said the city, the small town feel. It's I swear it felt like I wouldn't be surprised if they would have got those old school. If they would have told me that this was actually filmed on film. Obviously that would have been a waste of money. They couldn't do that. But it everything felt like it was shot the exact same way. The sets were amazing. I thought that everything looked good. Any what about you, baby? Any thoughts on cinematography or anything like that? Or
I mean, I thought they did great work keeping the feel of the same movie, even though it's updated, but not so updated that it doesn't feel like the original felt. Right.
I thought, and moving on to one of the next things. I didn't think about this much. The score, the music that was used, and I was like, how am I going to talk about? Because if I talk too much about music, then it'll kind of give something away, and I don't want to get into spoilers. But from the first movie, music, I believe throughout the movie, music was. I'll just say this: music. Just like in part one, had a moment. There's a couple of moments where it was very pivotal, I guess, to the plot. I guess I don't know how to say it without. You can if you've seen the first one, you can kind of imagine where I'm going with it. But to pay even with the score, with paying homage to the original again, but the new sounds that were used. In this one as well, I thought it was great. What about you, Rob? Any without spoiling?
I completely agree. They definitely it retains some of that same feel to the score as the original. You get some of those moments of really good really good callback. It's like, yes, the song.
Yeah.
And they did an excellent job.
Yeah.
And it did build presence to the scenes, but it was not distracting. It didn't take away from the scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Music wise, I know, babe, you were happy in a moment in the beginning of the movie. Well, this isn't a spoiler because it was in the trailer. During the funeral, I know certain music choices that were used. I know you were happy, and even during when during the funeral scene, because it's the grandfather or Lydia's dad, passing on. Even during that moment, I think you mentioned that you had fun with the funeral. That's a weird thing to say. We had fun with the funeral. The power of music. The tone, I think we kind of covered the tone.
Catherine O'Hara is such a nut.
Was that your standout performance?
The grandma.
Yeah.
I mean,
I forgot. And I keep calling her Lydia's mom. I forgot, and this movie reminded me that she was her stepmom. And I didn't realize that, and because I think of them as that being her mother, but I forgot that was her because she said that in part 1. It's like she corrected the ghost, like stepmom, like no. So when they used that fact to their advantage again, I had a good time. I can't talk about it right now. Okay, but we'll come back tomorrow. We're gonna go deep into it. Let's see. Target audience. Who do you think this is for? Obviously, there's an answer to this, but overall, who do you think this movie is for? Who do you think this movie will target or get? Do you think it's gonna target a lot of people?
Mostly living people.
Mostly the living.
The dead audience, maybe half and half, but pretty much most of the people that have a heartbeat are gonna really enjoy this film.
I mean, obviously, people our age who saw the original, you got nostalgia factor, and if you saw the original, you'll be able to catch the point things out that make sense, the references, the callbacks.
Yeah.
But I still think people who haven't seen it will have a good time with it because it's funny enough that you can watch it without seeing the first, because I don't know that there's going to be a lot of people that are going to go back and watch the original. That younger people.
Usually, it does happen sometimes.
Some do, but some may be like, I don't want to go back to 1988.
But I think that's also. I mean, I think the curiosity for some, but I think the popularity of Michael Keaton. He's come back again as Batman. That generated a lot of buzz. I think. Seeing him do it again with a different character, I think Michael Keaton has found some new fans with this new generation who might, out of loyalty of him or a little bit of curiosity, will go in and watch it and give that first one a try. I think this movie is going to do very well in the box office, and after seeing it, I hope it does. It deserves. Technical aspect. I think we kind of talked about this, mentioning notable special effects. I think that's your wheelhouse, man. What do you got? What special effects stood out to you?
They definitely did kick the practical effects up a notch on some of the, the representations of some of the dead people.
Yeah.
Were, some of them were campy, but man, some of them they really killed. That were, and you could tell by looking at it, that was done practical. That's not CGI. So yeah, I can't get into too much depth because they're going to spoil it. But yeah, the practical effects were on par with with what you would expect from this. Done very well, and very creepy, very creepy. So yeah, super great job. And then the cinematography we talked about was great.
Yeah.
So yeah, technical execution of that movie was stellar.
And on the list, comparables. I don't feel like it's fair to. I can't compare it to anything. I can't really compare it to much horror comedies that are out there. So I'll compare it back to the first one. The comparable I think is the first Beetlejuice in my opinion. Burton crushed it again. I think his quote, because he was quoted on, will there be a third Beetlejuice movie? And he said, well, I'll be over 100 years old by the time I'm ready to do it. Like, I know, he's lying. If this movie does well, which I believe it will, I think Beetlejuice 3 will come out. When we heard that the second movie was going to be called Beetlejuice, everybody instantly understood what was happening in real time. That means there's going to be 3 movies, and you got to call it Beetlejuice. It's got to. Even if, I feel like even if this flops, it just has to happen just because of the title alone.
I think it's going to do well, though.
I think it's going to do amazing. Comparables.
Predictions are looking pretty good.
I think that comparing. I think that it's. In comparison to the original, I think that it held up. I think it's worthy of the franchise. The thing that I appreciated about this movie is because Beetlejuice himself was such a mystery. I was happy that they did more with it, because you see this in the trailer that we're not just stuck with. Let's just say it like this: we're not just stuck with the same ghost. Like we talk about Bob, for example. We're not just dealing with the what was the name? Now I keep saying the Deets. Obviously the Deets is. We're not just dealing with like the two ghosts that were in the house and trying to get somebody out of their house. We're not just dealing with that type of a plot. In this movie, I felt like the what was it? Alec Baldwin and
Gina
Davis' character. I think that that void was filled with Winona Ryder and her stepmom. I think they were playing that role. They were the ones with the dilemma. Obviously, they needed Beetlejuice's assistance, and we saw that in the trailer. So that's not a spoiler. You saw, obviously, there was a plot that was the reason why they needed to bring him out. So I felt like in comparison to the first one, they kept it in that same vein. There's an unfortunate situation where we feel like we have no choice but to call on this a-hole to help us out, and they executed it well, just like they did on the first one. Recommendation conclude with whether or not you would recommend this movie. Was it 10 out of 10? Must recommend? What do you think? Where you rated, babe? You've been telling your friends about it, right?
Oh yeah, I think everybody should go see it. I give it at least a 9.
9 out of 10.
I'll watch it again.
9 out of 10. I will watch it again. What about you, Rob? What do you recommend? Do you recommend this film?
Absolutely, definitely recommend it. And yeah, I'm gonna go with a 9 as well.
9 out of 10. Must recommend. Let's go across the board. I'm right there with you guys. 9 out of 10. I highly recommend this movie. Go out and go check it out. I believe maybe it might be coming out tonight, but obviously Friday is the actual release date. Go check out Beetlejuice. All the performers. Jenna Ortega did a great job. The antagonists, I'll put it like that, were amazing.
Yeah, we got a couple of cameos in this movie that I've not seen anyone talking about.
Yeah,
and yeah, it's gonna be some jaws dropping when they catch some cameos.
Oh yeah, so go check it out, Beetlejuice. Yeah, we can't say much more without getting into it, but tomorrow we will get into more spoilers on it. Before we move on and get out of here for the night, anything from anybody out there in the world? Any comments on any of
Kevin, gave his opinion on he thinks Beetlejuice will just be moderate.
Beetlejuice will be moderate successful. It also goes on to say Joker 2 will be moderate. That's the word of the night. Moderate. Successful. Warner Brothers is not going to reach the heights of the first film of the box office. And Bo DeMaio, I think that was a subject from a couple of weeks ago. But that's not on topic of what we're talking about tonight. But yeah, I think
Beetlejuice is going to be a big. I'm not saying it's going to, be Deadpool level, but I think it's gonna do really well. I don't. Beetlejuice
will make $1 billion at the box office.
Technically, are we talking about two separate musicals?
What
do you mean? Like Joker? Are you talking about Joker?
Yeah, Joker and Beetlejuice.
Oh, dude. Would I consider Beetlejuice a musical? There is a musical. There's a musical for Beetlejuice. I wouldn't consider this a musical.
I would need to see how much music is in Joker. Is it like the whole movie, or is it just a few inserts? Yeah,
that's a good question though. That's two musicals where I think Beetlejuice will ease us into this to the next musical, which is Joker. Yeah. I saw a picture of Beetlejuice sitting on that couch in that waiting room with Heath Ledger's Joker, just trying to ignore him. He was just leaning in like, because their makeup is so similar with the green and the white face. That was kind of funny. Like he was that scene where Heath Ledger was sitting in the jail cell with his hands on his lap, just looking at Jim Gordon, and Beetlejuice was leaning in on his ear, just talking his ear off. I guess it was. I gotta find that meme again. That was pretty funny. But guys, go check it out.
Pets and More by Joy.
And as always, guys, just on T3 Media Studios or at Chris W. Fagan, you can always holler at me and let me know what you guys want to talk about. Until next time, guys, have a happy Peace. Thank you guys for watching our video. I really do appreciate it. Remember, you can support our show by becoming a member or a Patreon. So click the subscribe button. Don't forget to ring the bell for notifications so you'll never miss out on when we go live.